So most people do retargeting backwards. And I see so many people losing so much money by not having their retargeting campaigns set up correctly. So in today's video, I'm going to be running through a retargeting strategy that you can use to maximize the amount of sales that you're making and scale your campaigns easier. So this is what most people do, right? They will run an ad to some form of product page, sales page, funnel, and then they'll create an audience of people who clicked on the ad but didn't take the action or didn't purchase the product. And what they do is they'll create a retargeting campaign and a retargeting ad that basically says, hey, come back and buy my thing. Now, this can work and it can make sales. But if this is the only way you're retargeting, then you are missing out on so much money, because all this type of ad is doing is saying, hey, remember me? You clicked on my ad the other day. Go back and buy my thing. And the problem with this is that it's only going to convert a small percentage of that audience that you created into sales, because there's a reason why people went to the page to begin with and didn't buy. And you just showing up in their newsfeed again being like, hey, remember me, go back to the page, it's just not going to cut it for 95% of people. So let's look at it as if you are going up to a random girl on the street and you're asking her out on a date, which is effectively what we're doing with our advertising. Now, if that girl says no to you and refuses your offer, if you just go up to her again the next day and be like, oh, hey, remember me, do you want to go out with me now? It's very likely that, again, she's going to say no. There's probably a 5% chance that she says yes. And the reason why there's that 5% chance is because maybe the day before when you asked her, it just wasn't right timing. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she only had a couple of minutes left of her lunch break. Maybe she had an important meeting to go to. Maybe she was on the phone. So normally that girl would have said yes, but those circumstances at the time that you asked her just didn't allow her to say yes. And it's the same with our marketing. The people that say no once they land on the sales page, about 5% of the time, it's due to timing. Maybe they see your ad when they're on public transport and it's hard for them to check out. Maybe they see your ad when they're at work and they can't check out there on the phone. Maybe they see it when they're walking and they say to themselves, I'll go back and buy that later when I get in. These are timing circumstances or timing objections that stop your prospect from buying. And the type of retargeting ads that most people run, which is basically like, oh, remember me, come back and buy my stuff, is only going to convert those types of people who had that objection. Now, the 95% of people who didn't say no to bad timing or circumstance, they said no because they had legit objections to buying your product. So for example, if we go back to the dating analogy, a girl could say no to you because you're fucking ugly. She could say no to you because you're too skinny and you don't go to the gym. She could say no to you because she's got a boyfriend. She could say no to you because you seem like an arrogant twat when you approached her. I don't know what your personal flaws are, but there are lots of different objections that a girl could have to going out on a date with you. And there are lots of objections a potential buyer could have from buying your product. So what do? Well, you overcome those objections. So if you're ugly, go and get a face transplant. If you're a skinny nerd, then get to the gym. If she's got a boyfriend, then you need to break them up. You have to put a strategy together to overcome these objections. And it's the same with your ad campaigns. You need to come up with different retargeting strategies to overcome the different objections. So this is what you should do. Yes, you should have one retargeting ad or a set of retargeting ads that are basically retargeting the 5% of people that didn't buy due to timing. And they just need a reminder about your product to go back and buy. That's great. That's easy. Everyone does that. Then you need to create different retargeting campaigns that are tackling different objections. And you need to serve them to that same audience. And then the people who have that specific objection are going to see that specific ad. You're going to break the belief, you're going to break the objection, and then they're going to buy. So for example, when someone visits your sales page for the first time, they might not just have enough proof that your product works. So you could have one set of retargeting ads that is just a bunch of testimonials showing how amazing your product is and the results that it gets. If you're selling an info product teaching new people how to build a business, then it's very likely that a percentage of your audience will have an objection around not feeling like they could actually do the task and build the business themselves. So that could be fear around that they're not good at sales, they're not good at marketing, they're not good with technology. And you basically need to create retargeting ads that overcome that objection. And you would serve that to the same audience. So we recently ran a retargeting campaign for a client, and it was a business building coaching program. And our client has a big following online. So we know for a fact one of the biggest objections to buying the program is that new people feel like they need this huge audience in order to succeed. So we serve them retargeting ads, overcoming that objection, and showing them how they can make money even with a small audience. So there's going to be very specific objections to your specific business. It would be impossible for me to run through all of them, but you need to sit down and have a think about what are the biggest objections to people buying my product and create specific retargeting campaigns for them. So I'm going to dive into my ad account now and show you what it looks like on the inside. So I'm just in the ad account right now, and you can see I've got a super simple retargeting campaign set up. Generally just start with one retargeting campaign with the budget set at the ad set level. And within that campaign, you can see that we have different ad sets based on different objections. So like I just showed you, you need to map out the main objections that people would have to buying your product. You don't have to start with 4, it can be more, it could be less. And it's obviously just going to depend on, I suppose, the size of the audience and the number of objections that you have. And again, the budget will just be determined by, again, your budget, the cost of the product, your main KPIs, basically. This isn't a budget setting video, but this is generally the strategy. We'll just have one ad set per objection. Now, within each ad set, we will have typically 1 to 2 ads. You can just start off with 2, and they will be targeting the same objection. So it will be the same angle, but you just be running a simple split test. So for example, the social proof angle, if you wanted to show your potential customers that your product works, but you only had one testimonial video from a customer, then you would use that video in both of these ads, and you would probably split test the copy that is with it. If you're writing an ad where you're overcoming the objection of just the example that I was using before of someone who has a small audience, can they make money? And you wrote some really good ad copy and you thought that ad copy would work, then you could just use the same ad copy for both of the ads, and you would probably split test the image that the ad goes with. So essentially what we would do is just keep this campaign running, and you can basically then test which objection is working, which objection is resonating with your target audience the most. So that's why you can just run multiple of these ad sets within this one campaign. That can be more than 4, just so you can just track test and find out as quickly as possible the different objections that your customers have. And then what we can do is, once you have maybe 3, 4 different objections that are working, it could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more, then you can actually turn them into a scaling campaign. So let's just say, for example, that we found that objection 1 and objection 2 was working really well. It was getting us a really cheap CPA. And we knew that the front end ads, the top of funnel ads were working. So we know we had lots of people visiting our website. So that retargeting audience was big enough for us to go and scale. Then very, very simply, I would just duplicate these ads into a new campaign, and I would call it my scaling retargeting campaign. And all I would typically do is keep everything exactly the same, but then at the campaign level, I would do what is called advantage campaign budget, but I still call it CBO just because I'm cool like that. And I would put, a big budget in, again, depending on your KPIs and the rest of the stuff that's working inside your ad account. Again, not a budget setting video. And I would run that scaling campaign. And then obviously in your testing retargeting campaign, if something isn't working, then of course you would turn it off. And effectively, that is what we can do. And you can just continue this process. You can continue, as long as your retargeting audience is big enough to handle all of these ads and the budget going towards it, then you can just start creating or continue to create new objection angles, different objections that you want to overcome. test them, and once you see a few that are working, then you can scale it. So that's the retargeting strategy, and I guarantee if you implement this into your ad accounts, you will make a ton more money. So thanks for watching the video. If you got value from the video, subscribe to the channel. I release videos like this every single week on Facebook ads, paid advertising, client generation. And yeah, thanks for watching again. I'll see you on the next one.